Hey guys, this is Goku, and on this channel we talk about poker and ideas that can improve your life. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and click the subscribe button because I'll be honored to have you here. Today we're gonna jump into Poker Snowie and we're gonna play or we're gonna analyze some hands. Last session we've analyzed a few blunders from a pack of hands that we imported into Poker Snowie, and this session we're gonna go over some errors. I'm not sure if we're gonna go through all of them because, as you can see, there's 223 of them, so that's quite a lot, but maybe they're all quite small, and in that case we will only focus on the ones that are over 1 BB of EV loss. So let's jump right into it. This one's one of the errors, so we're not going to analyze them. That one was as well, but this is something else. So let's take a look at this. We've got 44k on blinds 150 300, so nearly 150 big blinds. We're on the big blind with ace-4 suited. There's an open to 2 BBs from cutoff, and we call. So pretty standard. Even we can see that the Snowie, the solver, likes to raise here with ace-4 suited, and I would agree with that in general. On the flop, of course, we check, and the villain checks behind, which is pretty standard. But we see the solvers checking 35% and betting 65% with villain's hand. On the turn, we decide to go for another check because a 10 of diamonds falls, and yeah, we can even see that Snowy thinks the same. But well, we pretty much should have some aces that we check on the turn, because if we're betting all our aces, then we're way too predictable, and we simply want to give him an opportunity to go to do a delayed c-bet, or maybe try and take a stab at this pot with some drawing hands. But you can see that EV between betting half pot and checking is pretty much the same, and betting full pot is also pretty much same here. So we check. Villain checks behind once again, and now we have a jack of clubs on the river, and we decide to check for the third time. And here we can see solver thinks it's a bad play. We should continue. We should bet here, and solver really likes betting quarter pot here. Thinks it's the best move. But I think the rationale for checking on the river is that pretty much the same as on the turn. We want him to try and take a stab at this, but well, given if he has a hand that has some value, some equity, he's probably gonna check behind. So that's why it's a good idea to just bet a quarter pot here. Maybe he's bluff raising sometimes, then he's definitely calling them with a pair of nines or a hand like that, and with quite a bit of his low equity hands. And yeah, that's why we should go ahead and put a bet. Let's move on. Let's try and look for another one. Here we've got 1.68 big blind mistakes, so it may be interesting. We've got 93 big blind stack on 250-500 big blinds, and again on the big blind there's an open from hijack, and button decides to tag along, and we call this as well with 10-8 suited, which is perfectly fine. We see a flop of 9 deuce 8. We check as we should, and the pre-flop raiser decides to continue and goes for a big sizing or a larger sizing. Best 3k to a pot of 4.5. The button folds, and we fold as well. And the solver thinks it's a mistake. And I agree, it is a mistake. We do have a pair of 8s. We do have a backdoor flush draw. We do have some potential for a straight as well. Some backdoor straights may come. And Dylan's got a quite wide range. Of course, he puts a big bet now. Bets 75% of the pot. But I think we should peel one card here. See the turn. Maybe on a lot of turns he shuts down. Maybe we hit some nice equity on the turns on some turns, and we can even take charge of this hand. But in general, I agree with the solver's line here. We should just call this, reevaluate on the turn. Folding here is just too weak, especially that given the fact that we have over 90 big blind stack. And we've got, because besides that, we've got all the, two pair kind of hands like 9-8. We've got 9s, 8s, deuces. We do have a lot of hands that have hit quite well, and on a lot of turns we're hitting even bigger, right? We've got 6-7 here, we've got 10 jack. All these kinds of hands are in our range, and the preflop raiser does not have a lot of these. Let's move on. Let's look for another one. All small ones. This is -3 BB, so we've analyzed this with the blunders. This is -5 BB, so we've also analyzed this already. And here's a 1.62 error, which we did not analyze. So let's go through it. Once again, on the big blind, so we see a reoccurring pattern that we're making some mistakes on the big blind. And once again, deep stack, 54k on 200-400 blinds. We see an open from low jack, a call from cutoff, and we decide to tag along with jack 3 suited, perfectly fine. On a deuce jack 5 with 2 diamonds, we decide to check, as we should, and the original raiser continues for half pot. The cutoff player folds, and we just call, which is perfectly fine. Ace of hearts falls on the turn. We go for a check, and the preflop aggressor continues once again for a half pot bet, and we fold it here. Yeah, once again, I would say we're just playing too scared, or what is the word? Too cautiously, I think. Well, this hand and the previous one are just two cautious folds. Of course, he's got a lot of aces here. He's got a lot of better jacks, but he also has quite a bit of straights and flush draws and hands like pocket 10s, pocket 9s, which he's just taking a last stab here on this turn. This ace is also a good card for him to continue betting, to continue bluffing. He may have hit another straight draw or a hard straight draw, flush draw, sorry. So we should just call this here and reevaluate on the river. And let's move on to the next hand. Oh, minus 1.73. This should be fine. This should be fun. And right now we've got over 200 big blind stacks. So once again, very deep stack. under the gun +1, we open ace king to 2.5 BBs, get called by the cutoff, get called by the button, and we see a three-handed flop of 7-5-6 with two hearts, and we check it, which is perfectly fine, and it goes check, 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 and we have an opportunity to see the turn of a king of diamonds, and we decide to bet it, and we bet 55% of the pot. We see Snowy prefers betting quarter of the pot, but it does this only 22% of the time, and with a 55% sizing, it bets only 7% of the time. And I agree with that. We probably do not want to bet this that often. We want to give them an opportunity to bet. But we got a call from the cutoff, and the button folds. We see a 3 of clubs on the river, and we decide to go for a check. And Snowy doesn't like that. It thinks we should bet 100% of the time, and it likes the quarter pot bet size the most. But we see checking here is also fine. But I think, given the fact that we've bet the turn, I think it would have been better if we checked the turn and bet now on the river, or maybe check called the turn and now bet on the river. Yeah, it's difficult to speak about all these different scenarios, which did not happen. But I agree, in general, you should probably bet this here, and not and betting quarter pot still gives the villain an opportunity to bluff raise it, and he should also call this very widely, a quarter pot bet, so it makes sense. But we checked, the villain checked behind with ace-9 of hearts, and we won the pot. Let's look for another hand. This is a big error, so it was a blunder. We've played this during the last session. We've got 1.291. Let's check it out. We've got blinds of 500, 1000. We've got 49 big blinds on the button with ace deuce suited. And we see an under the gun +1 limp, raised to 4 BBs from the middle position player. And we decide to call it. And this is, I agree, this is a bad call. On a 49 big blind stack, we shouldn't be calling here with ace deuce suited. We may sometimes raise it, I think 3-bet it, but it's a little bit too loose on a small stack like this, well, on a mid stack like this. But, well, we decided to call this, and fortunately we were lucky enough to see the flop. Very often we do not see the flop here. And I think this is actually a hand that we've already analyzed in the past, in the previous blunder session. So sorry about that. I'm gonna, this was a bigger error and we've analyzed this. So I'm gonna skip it. Okay, and this is not a hand we've analyzed in the past, so maybe interesting. At least I think we did not. Blinds 500, 1000. We're on a 44 big blind stack. There's a limp, and we decide to limp along. Our 9 queen suited. Yeah, I wouldn't advise doing this often, but from time to time, I like to play a little bit weirdly, and I guess that was such a case. The big blind raised to 4.5 BBs, and we called this Well, if we're gonna limp here, then of course we're gonna call the raise. The board was king 10-6 with 2 spades. The villain bet 80% of the pot, and we decided to shove it. And this is the error. I actually quite like shoving here. Yeah, I think it's not that bad to shove here. We can also call and see the turn, and if he checks, then shove. But what if the turn is an unfavorable card for us and the villain shoves? We're not gonna call. And there will be 30k dead money in the pot. And yeah, I think in a spot like this, when we have gotten ourselves into something like this, we should just pull the trigger and shove it all in. But I also do understand that it's not the best EV spot, EV positive spot that you could find. It's actually pretty bad. And we actually lost this, so that's that. Let's look for another hand. We've got 17 minutes, so I'm thinking maybe we should just take this last hand and move on. But this was also a part of the blunders, so I'm just gonna move on to the next one. I'm gonna find our another 1k over 1 BB of EV loss hand, and yeah, I've got it. And I think I'm gonna stop here, so and continue in the next video, because we're already nearly 18 minutes in the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. Check out the description to see what other poker tools we've been exploring lately, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Do you want to learn how to play PLO? Are you a beginner player who's never played Omaha before? Do you want to learn how to crush casual players easily? If so, this course is perfect for you. It's a crash course on Pot Limit Omaha dedicated for beginner players. You will learn all the fundamentals of PLO. You will learn what hands to play, when to play them, and how to play them. You will learn the basic strategies that allow you to be a winning player at your home games or microstakes online. If you want to learn PLO quickly and easily, get this course now at gokupoker.com.